All right, let's get right into it. In this explainer, we're not just going to talk about a topic. No, we're going to reverse engineer a formula. We are going to tear apart the blueprint that turns a regular old technical tutorial into something that absolutely blows up. Let's do this.
Okay, let's start with a feeling we all know. Why is it that you can click on a 10-minute tutorial and 30 seconds in, your mouse is already hovering over the back button? You need the info, you want to learn, but something just isn't grabbing you. Why is that?
Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Most creators are just winging it. They don't have a structure, they don't have a repeatable formula for grabbing your attention and, more importantly, keeping it. But today, we're changing all that. We're giving you the exact blueprint pulled right from the best of the best.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts right here, in the first 60 seconds. This is the most critical part of your content. You have just a few moments to convince someone that this is worth their time. This isn't about some fancy animated intro. It's about a deep psychological hook.
So what makes a great hook? It's really two things. First, you open a loop. You show an incredible result, but you don't immediately explain how you did it. You create this little mystery, this gap in their knowledge that they just have to fill. Then you raise the stakes. You frame this whole thing not as some cool little trick, but as a way to save massive amounts of time, make more money, or just crush your competition. That creates instant urgency.
Let's look at a real-world example. This is perfect. It works because you get instant visual proof of a huge result, an entire blog post from what sounds like almost zero effort. The loop is now wide open. How in the world did a single prompt do the work of a whole team? You gotta stick around to find out.
Okay, here's another great one, a different angle. This hook is all about offering instant, real value. The magic words here? Powerful, free, and then familiar tools like Claude and Google Sheets. It basically says, hey, you can do this amazing thing right now with tools you already know, and it won't cost you a dime. The barrier to entry just vanished.
Now, this last one might seem a little less flashy, but believe me, for the right person, it's the best hook of all. This is what we call a high-intent hook. The person watching isn't looking for a mystery. They're looking for an answer to a very specific problem. This hook gets straight to the point and promises to solve it, and that builds trust immediately.
So, you've hooked them. Awesome. But honestly, that's only like 10% of the job. Now comes the hard part. You have to deliver. And how you deliver is literally everything. This is all about the architecture of retention, how you engineer your explainer to stop people from clicking away.
And here's the absolute key. You cannot just talk about the theory. That's just passive learning, and it is a recipe for viewer drop-off. The winning format, especially for anything technical, is the over-the-shoulder tutorial, the build-along. You don't just tell them, you show them. You build it live right in front of them, proving that the system actually works in real time.
Now, in the middle of any build, there's always what I call the dip. You know, the boring part where you're just connecting APIs or setting things up. This is where you lose people. But the pros, they prevent this by introducing a surprise. Just when things get a little dry, they'll casually say, oh, and by the way, we're also building an AI that will automatically quality check the content and rewrite it if it's not good enough. And bam, suddenly everyone's re-engaged. They have to see how that works.
Okay, we've got the hook, we've got the structure, now for the heart of the matter, the actual value you're delivering. This is where you go from good to great by going way beyond the basics and offering something nobody else is talking about.
I love this slide because it shows the two levels of value so clearly. On the left, you've got the non-negotiables. This is the stuff everyone expects, using a spreadsheet, generating content in chunks. That's table stakes. The real magic is on the right. These are the outlier insights. This is your secret sauce. This is the stuff that makes people go, whoa, I've never seen that before. And let's just quickly define one of those outlier terms, because it's a big one. Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or RAG. All that means is you're giving your AI a custom brain. Instead of just knowing about the internet, it can tap into your own private data, like your company's product catalog. This allows it to create insanely relevant content. Just tuck that away. It's the key to the whole thing later on. Okay, it's time. We've got the hook, the architecture, the value propositions. Now let's put all of these pieces together into one single unbeatable formula. This is the master plan. So here it is, the play-by-play. It all starts with that powerful hook. Then you spend a minute or so on the setup, building trust. The main body of the explainer is that over-the-shoulder build we talked about. But the real magic happens at the end, the payoff. This is where you reveal that blue ocean angle that just completely changes the game. And what is that ultimate game-changing angle? It's a total shift in perspective. You're not just building a system to get blog traffic. Come on, that's thinking way too small. What you're actually building is a closed-loop sales engine. And that right there is the mic drop moment. Because when you use that RAG technique, when you give the AI access to your live product inventory, the system doesn't just write a blog post. No way. It writes a blog post that answers a real customer question, and then it naturally, perfectly recommends the exact product from your store that solves their problem. It stops being a writer and it becomes a salesperson, one that works for you 24/7. So there you have it, the full anatomy of a high-performing explainer, from the hook that grabs them to the final reveal that blows their mind. The only question left is, now that you have the blueprint, what kind of automated sales engine are you going to build first?